What I saw that night seemed so real. It was terrifying.
I was ready to check myself into a mental hospital right at that moment.
Someone was in our house. I called 911 right away.
Something freaked me out down there. I was losing my mind.
You need to move on. You don't belong.
When I brought it into my apartment, something evil came with it.
We were driving back from 2 weeks in Cape Cod. It was past midnight on a Sunday, but for some reason...
Hey, honey, wake up.
All the houses in the neighborhood had their lights on.
What time is it?
Was there a, thing this weekend?
A thing?
It stuck out as strange because I'd never seen the neighborhood look like that.
4th of July was last week.
Okay, so why aren't all the lights on? All right, buddy, let's hit it. We're home.
The whole thing with the lights was really weird and confusing. Even the kids noticed it. I figured I'd wait until morning and talk to our neighbors, find out what was going on.
Elliot, get to sleep okay?
Yeah, why?
I don't know. Sarah just seemed bothered by something.
Well, it's late. She just needs a good night's sleep.
What?
I think I know where the lights were on.
Why?
Oswego is now in a virtual lockdown. Residents afraid for their lives have been shuddering in for sleepless nights as the hunt for escaped murderer Teddy Harmon goes into its 5th night. Harmon was given 3 consecutive life sentences nearly a decade ago after being found guilty of 4 gruesome murders across the Northeast. At each location, he left his calling card. A Dreamcatcher assembled from the body parts of his latest victims, earning himself the gruesome nickname Dreamcatcher. Harmon's last suspected sighting was an attempted break-in at this home on South Elm.
It's not even a mile from here.
I know.
Now, this town of just 12,000 people is gripped with fear, wondering how did the devil find his way to their little town, and just how long until the authorities can catch him.
After we saw the news, I went around checking the house. Since we'd been gone for 2 weeks. Our basement had a separate entrance around the back of the house. Nothing looked out of place down there. This was back before you could get constant news updates on your phone. All we could do was lock down and wait it out.
She's asleep, finally. Must have been a heck of a nightmare.
Maybe you should stay home tomorrow.
Honey, I just took 2 weeks off.
We'll be here alone.
It's just during the day. You'll be fine. They'll catch him, don't worry. Why would he want to stay in this town anyway? He's probably 100 miles away by now.
Sarah? You still having trouble sleeping, hon? Sarah?
Everything's still locked up.
He was standing right there.
Shh, wake the kids. There's nothing there. bad nightmare. It's understandable watching the news this late at night, you know. Let's go to bed, honey.
What I saw that night seemed so real. But I figured William had to be right. I probably just dreamt about what I saw in the news before bed.
Development in the Teddy Harmon saga. Official details have not been released, but Police Chief Michael Chapman will be holding a press conference.
Can we go play outside?
Not today.
Why?
I don't feel well. I think I want to stay inside.
We're not babies, Mom. We can go outside ourselves.
Maybe later. Let's go make some cookies. What?
I know you're lying.
We'd thrown away all the newspapers and kept the kids away from the TV since we'd gotten home. But somehow, my daughter sensed something was going on.
A tragic development in the Teddy Harmon saga. Police have responded to this home on South Sunnydale. From what I am gathering, a woman was found dead, and the police are investigating it as a murder. Official details have not yet been released. From what I am gathering.
I'll call Tom tomorrow. I'm sure he won't mind if I work from home.
Thank you. What? William? What is it?
I knew I'd locked that basement door when I came home from work.
Maybe we should call the police.
Just like I had every night, for years.
William.
You the kids open it.
Nobody knew the combination to that lock except for me. And I had no idea how it had gotten open.
Hey.
Honey, locked down. I missed this one.
You think something came in?
It's just the wind, honey.
What did you see up there?
Nothing. We're all on edge, okay? Need you to see something that isn't there. Let's go.
I should have known better than to tell Lori about that lock. I knew it would scare her. And I definitely couldn't tell her about what I'd seen upstairs. Mostly because I didn't know myself.
Dad, is it time to get up already?
Harmon was found guilty of 4 gruesome murders across the Northeast. At each location, he left his calling card, earning himself the gruesome nickname Dreamcatcher.
Sarah? Sarah? Sarah?
I'll call Tom tomorrow. I'm sure he won't mind if I work from home.
Thank you.
Dad, is it time to get up already? There was someone standing there with this thing in his hand with blood and teeth, and it was him. The Dreamcatcher. You didn't even see it.
I haven't told them yet. They don't know.
I thought maybe my daughter had overheard the news on TV, that my son had had a bad dream.
I'm scared.
I need you to be really quiet. Stay right here.
We'd all heard the same noises, the same footsteps. Someone was in our house. No question.
Did you see him?
I was positive I'd heard those same footsteps from the first night, right outside our bedroom door. But there was no one in the hallway. I waited outside with the kids while William ran across the street and used our neighbor's phone to dial 911.
You said there was a Dreamcatcher.
Yeah, it was right there. It was hanging right there.
Where is it?
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on.
Any other entry points to the house?
The basement.
The cops checked the basement, and the lock I had put on just a few hours before had been opened again.
Well, sure as hell looks like someone broke in. But your house is empty now. We've checked everywhere.
But he could come back.
I understand your concerns. We'll be patrolling the area all night. Well, whomever it might have been, it wasn't Teddy Harmon. He's dead.
Harmon's last suspected sighting was an attempted break-in at this home on South Elm.
It's not even a mile from here.
I know.
Sarah? Sarah? Sarah?
There was someone standing there with this thing in his hand with blood and teeth. It was him. The Dreamcatcher.
Well, sure as hell looks like someone broke in, but your house is empty now. We've checked everywhere.
But he could come back.
I understand your concerns. We'll be patrolling the area all night. Well, whomever it might have been, it wasn't Teddy Harmon. He's dead. Shootout across town nearly 3 hours ago.
Homeowners heard her moving around, so they called it in. News media should be on it about now.
We couldn't understand it. If he'd been dead for 3 hours, then how did we just see him in our house?
That night was rough. The kids came into our room, and somehow we all managed to fall asleep. This time, I didn't bother searching the basement myself. I called 911 right away.
Can you tell me what happened?
Yeah, the door was wide open. The lock was busted and...
Do you have any problems with your neighbors?
No. I mean, we were out of town last week.
Guys, you need to see this.
What is that?
The police found a lock of blonde hair. The woman he'd murdered a few nights before was blonde.
The cops suspected that he'd killed her in our house and then moved her body. So maybe it wasn't a nightmare after all. Maybe he was still in our house that first night. But who or what were we seeing after Teddy Harmon was dead? I was at a total loss. So that night I did something I never thought I'd do. I called a medium to come to our house.
There is energy here in your home. His energy is trapped here. Even after his death, he was here. He was hiding. And a piece of him is still lingering. Yeah. But there is also someone else. A woman. Someone he killed. She's here too. She feels vindicated. She tried to warn you. She did warn you. She showed you something of his.
The Dreamcatcher.
It was terrifying to admit, but it all made sense. Maybe what we were seeing all along was her warning us.
What should we do?
We need to cleanse the house.
How do we do that?
With sage.
I'd never believed in that kind of stuff. But how else would she know all of this if we hadn't told her? I just wanted whoever was terrorizing our family out of our house.
I wasn't sure if this cleansing would work, but at that point, I was willing to try anything.
You need to move on from this place. You don't belong here. This is William's house and Laurie's house. You will leave it, and you will take the evil and the darkness you brought to it with you.
After the medium cleansed our house, we never saw Teddy Harmon again. It took a long time, but eventually, The kids were able to sleep in their own rooms again. Laurie wasn't afraid to be alone in the house anymore. And our neighborhood and our lives slowly moved back to the way things were before Teddy Harmon. Back to normal.
I was a couple months into my new job at the post office in downtown Chicago, in this big, old, historic building. I've always been fascinated by history, collected antiques, read history books.
You're here to sort, not snoop.
I just like hearing people's stories.
I'm not opening anything, just curious.
That probably explains why I was always so tempted to snoop through people's letters.
Don't you ever wonder what these people are writing to each other?
Well, it's not my business.
I mean, these could be love letters or criminals.
Run and grab a roll of paper towels from the supply closet. Hurry.
Tom had been working there forever. He had a pretty low tolerance for what he called my childlike curiosity.
You get what?
Look, I think it's an old crawl space or something.
Well, that's Chicago for you. Basements built over basements.
There's something in there, like a bottle, I think.
Wow, garbage inside a crawl space.
It's not garbage. It's got to be pretty old, right?
Grab that mop too, would you please?
I knew I couldn't go digging around while I was on the clock without pissing off Tom. But after the post office closed, I decided to take a look.
Don't you ever wonder what these people are writing to each other?
Well, it's not my business.
I mean, these could be love letters or criminals.
Run and grab a roll of paper towels from the supply closet. Hurry. You get lost?
It was an old antique bottle. It must have been there for decades, so no one was going to miss it. Something freaked me out down there, but I was sure it had to be a trick with the light or something. Still, I grabbed that bottle and got the hell out of there. My friends and family always joked that I should have been born in another time because I loved collecting old things. It sounded like it was coming from my neighbor's apartment.
Miss Calloway?
I thought she might be in trouble or something.
Why are you knocking at my door in the middle of the night?
I heard shouting and pounding on the wall from your unit.
Well, I'm the only one who lives here, and I was asleep until you woke me up.
I figured maybe the noise had come from outside the building. So I went back to bed. But then I heard the same sound again right away. Except this time it was coming from my apartment.
Help me.
My bathroom. It had been a long day and a restless night, and I was exhausted and seeing things, I guess. I mean, how else could I explain seeing myself being dragged across my own bathroom floor? I just laid in bed, awake, until the sun came up. The next morning, I tried to just forget about it and started getting ready for work.
You get lost?
Look, I think it's an old crawl space or something.
Well, that's Chicago for you. Basements built over basements. When I woke up, there was no blood anywhere, and I couldn't smell the gas anymore. I was over an hour late to work. Tom was calling to let me know our boss was pissed.
I know. I slipped in the shower, I think. I'll be there as fast as I can.
So, you fell?
I must have. Next thing I knew, the phone was ringing and I woke up on the floor.
You hit your head? Because you look fine. Except maybe tired.
Well, I guess I'm okay.
Lived here how long? 4 years now? Never a problem before.
When I was being chased, there was a man with a saw.
Come on, dear, come on, let's get you home. Come on.
I was ready to check myself into a mental hospital right at that moment. And if it weren't for my neighbor, I think I would have.
You know about my oldest boy? Well, he's doing better now. His wife keeps him in line, I think. But he had a lot of problems. A lot of troubles. And really, there's nothing to be ashamed of.
What do you mean, troubles?
drugs?
I'm not taking any drugs.
That's 2 nights in a row. You woke me up pounding on my door.
I swear I'm not. I barely even drink. My only addictions are flea markets and online shopping. I like tchotchkes.
Oh, you do have plenty of those.
Yeah, that's my newest one. The little green vase. I found it in the post office basement.
Things people leave behind. Listen, I know it's none of my business, except I'm older. And if you keep pounding on my door in the middle of the night like that, I'm going to get a heart attack. And if you keep seeing things and you're not really on drugs, then you should probably get an MRI.
I had decent health insurance, so the next morning I scheduled an appointment for later in the week. And then I went to work.
You okay?
I'm just tired. I didn't sleep too well. Loud neighbors. Look, I think it's an old crawl space or something.
Well, that's Chicago for you. Basements built over basements.
It was the same man I saw the night before on the stairs. But then, he was gone. That's when I remembered the bottle. This had all started when I brought it home. I wasn't a big believer in hauntings. At least not then. But I wasn't taking any chances. I was going to put it back where I found it the next morning. I didn't know how or why, but I knew the bottle was the reason I was seeing all those things. It had to be. The MRI showed nothing abnormal, and all I know is I was just fine until I brought it home.
Wow.
Just give me a minute, please.
You found it in the basement of the post office, you say?
Yeah. Well, like in the crawl space. I guess from a building that was there before.
You're at the downtown branch? Well, the only building that was there before was the hotel.
What hotel?
I wonder if that's where Holmes massacred all those bodies.
Mrs. Calloway told me a man named H.H. Holmes murdered a bunch of people back in the late 1800s. He would lock them in vaults, poisoning them with gas, and butcher them.
He was America's first serial killer. The very first.
It all matched up perfectly with what I'd been seeing. And it was all done right out of a hotel in downtown Chicago.
It was a torture castle. That's what it was called.
I'll never know for sure, but I think that bottle was somehow related to whatever happened down there. And when I brought it into my apartment, something evil came with it. The only thing I do know for sure is that ever since I put that bottle back, I never saw him again.